Hello and welcome to this second session of Voidheart Symphony. We have one player, Gabriel, that is out today, maybe joining us later, but is very likely not going to be. We are following up from our session 0, session 1 for Voidheart, where we created our characters. We went into the castle and they emerged victorious. We established a number of things about our city of Ocean, details about that. It's public transport, it's highly technological level, the kind of green space it has in places, it's being close by the ocean, all of those things. We've got a number of the other features there, including some areas that are kind of pushed off to the side from that. We're going to be talking about our lines of veils, the safety. We're going to be having characters introduce themselves in just a second, and then we're going to be building our covenants. Oh, my name is Lowell. Pronouns he, him. I am GMing this. This session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar, which is an online gaming club. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. And if you like these videos, if you're interested in other AP videos, please check out the rest of my channel, and also check out the Gauntlet's general YouTube channel for a lot of different APs that are available there. So we're going to start by taking just a quick recap of our safety, again, using the X card, and we're also using the open door policy. But right now, for lines and veils that we have hard on the table, we have hard lines on dental horror, on torture by the PCs, and on student-teacher relationships. And then for veils, we have harm to animals, harm to children, sexual content, and intimate partner abuse. And then we have an ask first for issues of suicide. So those are the things that are out there on the table that we want to keep in mind. So because we had a skip last week and the players were very generous in putting up with that, we had to open door last week. We've had a couple weeks between sessions, so we're going to have people reintroduce their characters. So first chair is now Sherry. So let's have you give us the pitch on who your character is.
Well, my name is Sherry. I use she, her pronouns. I am playing Charlotte. I think Charlotte Laurent will be her last name. I will type it in there. And she is of the playbook, the provider. And essentially, her modus operandi is she's an older sibling, and to people at school, she's like a scofflaw and a delinquent. She comes into classes late. She leaves them early. She just seems to not care about all the conventions and things like that. In fact, what it is that she's particularly busy because she's mostly taking care of her younger siblings, and she has a job, and she's super busy. And her approach to it is to act like she doesn't care, because one of her problems is that her father, when she lost her mother, became a very anxious person, and so she tries to hide her own anxiety. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That gives us a good sense of who you are, of what we know about you so far. You are the provider. Let's come next to our watcher. Mendel, please tell us about your character.
Hi, so I'm Mendel. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Pam Doriat, who uses she, her pronouns. Pam is the watcher, is something of a private investigator, odd jobs kind of person around the city, helping out people who need help, in theory at least, and maybe making some money along the way. She's good at finding lost things. And she got, in the process of that, had discovered some of the victims of the castle.
Excellent. And then last but not least, carriage return, Sasha.
Hi, I'm Patrick, he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Sasha Sparron, also he, him. And he's the heretic playbook, a disruptor, and someone the goes against the law and order of things. He is a lockpick, or
Smith.
locksmith. That's the word. There we go. Locksmith by trade. And I think it's a like shop that he inherited from his grandparents when they died. And he is a thief by side job and avocation, and a bit of necessity. I think uh like when his grandparents died, the like locked in rent on the building suddenly went up to like market forces, and trying to keep a hold of this shop from his family has been one of the money stressors, things that has led him to try and find extra income. He is very good at getting into places he's not supposed to be. Let's see. Oh yes, the move I picked up last time is a subversive whisper, where I can spy on minions of the castle and turn them against each other. I think that's it for now.
Excellent. So we've got a set of steps that we're going to work through right now that involve establishing some NPCs, involve establishing some details about our characters, things like that. We can revisit some of our particulars if there are things that you want to change about choices that you've made about your characters. But the first thing that we're going to start with, that sort of mechanically it has you choose, is you have a role, and you'll make that choice. You choose whether the castle sees you as a delinquent, a prodigal, or a traitor. And you can see on your the sort of mundane life area, that's row 27. It has talks about the roles that describe your occupation and like what those mean. And there's a drop down on line 40 under the city where you'll choose your role. So Patrick, I know you've already gone through and done this, so let's take a look at that step. So on row 41, you've gone through and you've made a choice about your role. Tell us about what you chose and kind of what that says about your character.
So many mutes, so many tabs. So for my role, I went with prodigal because one of the examples listed were punk, activist, or thief, and that's sort of where I honed in on the playbook. And so I add a black mark to lack for that, which
Okay.
sort of led me into the constant money problems for him. There's a financial hole he can't ever quite fill with those two black marks in lack. Then add the place where you trade ideas with others to the relationship map. And so I put the Aurora Crown as a shadowy bar, a place to trade ideas.
Okay.
It's not like a club. It's not loud. It's the main purpose of people there isn't like trying to meet each other or hook up. It's a place for quiet conversations and serious drinking and bad decisions all around, sort of thing.
Excellent. We'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like in a bit, but you've got that added to the relationship map there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you added a tick to heat and fealty and 2 ticks to the rest, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
I live for the fight. So getting in trouble with the law and being tempted by the castle aren't my biggest problems right now. My biggest problems are lack, blood, and infamy.
Okay.
And then contacts, pick one from the blah, 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 give them a name. So I went with Sugarhawk,
Oh,
who
interesting.
is on the NPCs.
What does hench temp party boy mean?
It means that he lives sort of in the black market side of things. His most common source of income would probably be like drug dealer or guy who gets stuff, but he's constantly being he's around all the time, so he's constantly being brought on as like lookout or driver or distraction, and that's not really being a criminal. That's not doing the crime. The other people are doing the crime. Like being the lookout is just like looking
Right.
out. That's not criminal activity. And so he's never really like committed to the cause or a particular job for anything that he's doing. He's always the first one willing to run. But then he's out at the clubs and the sort of underground bars again the next night, working his way up from selling a couple of bags of stuff to if anybody's got something more interesting.
Okay.
And I think he and Sasha are just like friends that go way, way back. Like middle school sort of friends that have just sort of grown up in parallel. Sugarhawk gets Sasha connections with things that he's looking to find ways into or things he's looking to fence afterwards, and Sugarhawk also gets him into a lot of trouble.
Sure. And it looked like you kind of were leaning towards the Vagabond as the covenant for that one.
Yes.
Okay.
And that boop is down here. So I can get his advice on trouble that I get into. It had a little thing that added on to like stakeout and spying on minions, which went with my moves, so that's what sort of drew me to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can hurt myself to keep the bad guys' attentions inside the castle.
Excellent. So I want to run back to one thing from before that I don't know if you defined for us, and I apologize to everybody. We're going about this kind of chaotically because there's a lot of stuff to go through, so I apologize. You chose your gear for your character, right?
Ooh, I did, yes.
Okay. Describe what that signature weapon looks like.
So I went with Crimson Chains, which is sort of what I used in that first delve, and on my middle character picture, you can sort of see the red strings like wrapped around his jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it is. It looks like it's part of the jacket, but they come loose, move, seem to slither on their own, and he uses them to usually to trip and bind and tie up more than to damage. So I went with tether as the perk. It lets
Mm-hmm.
me tie people up or tie myself to them so they can't move without dragging me along. But it's grazing. It doesn't do a lot of damage and it can be undone.
Okay. Smart, and then your
then
piece of gear was the thieves' tools, right?
Yep. Thieves' tools expend to open any door or breach any barrier.
And your form in the castle has one descriptor per rank of world and or void.
And at the moment, that's my cool outlaw coat.
Okay.
It's dark and black and has those red chains around it. It's got the very high collar and sort of a scarf that goes with it to hide his face. And the edges almost seem to like fade into fog or mist or smoke.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to go on to Charlotte, and we'll come back to you to build a connection with another player's NPC.
Okay.
Sherry, so let's start at the aftermath section there. We already got the stuff where we added your stats, but one of the things you get to decide is your signature weapon. And that's under the castle, and it will get a perk and a flaw on it. It's in the castle section, which starts at row 51.
Yeah, and I thought I picked that. Like, maybe not. It was like the bow. There was a place where you could choose it where it was like, I had.
That's it, as you have that under gear. So go ahead and write the
Okay.
sanctified bow under describe weapon here.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. No, we're figuring stuff out.
Okay. And so I get some perks and flaws with it.
You choose one perk and one flaw.
Oh, I guess piercing, right?
Okay.
Isn't that what the thing is about a bow? And the flaw is ammo.
Okay. And then you get to pick a piece of gear that you have.
Really?
Yeah.
But wasn't that a piece of gear? It is one of my drop-down
it is one
pieces of gear.
But so they have that as, you can have that as gear, or you can have that as your signature weapon.
Oh, what is the difference?
The gear is just a thing that helps you out, generally,
Okay.
but your signature weapon is your sort of big, like when we see you, you are always, that's the thing you're using to fight with, and you can get extra tags to it.
Basically, if you took it as your gear, then you could have 2 weapons.
Oh, that seems silly. How about home cooking? That just sounds so weird.
Okay.
Okay, expend when you shelter to let each rebel heal a particular thing. Yeah, she's probably making lunches for her younger siblings, and she just makes 3 more whenever she knows we're going delving. So you get like whatever cool social media type lunch is being done right now. So sometimes a bento box, sometimes just stuff like that.
Instagram lunches. Okay.
Exactly, Instagram lunches. That's what you're getting, people.
So let's go back up to mundane life. We have you pick a category from the drop down for your role for your character. What do you think you want that to be?
So I keep trying to choose delinquent, and it kind of doesn't stick. So delinquent is what I have chosen. So what do I need to do to get this to like go there?
It does look like it's staying there for me right now.
Okay, I had problems last time with the sheet not updating, so you may just need to reload the tab.
Okay.
So what you took delinquent, what that means is that we're going to add another permanent black mark to your infamy. So I'm going to drag that over there. So you start out with 2. So that's the lowest that can possibly go. It's always going to start out there at that point. And then, so we've got that black category. What is a place you go to look after your dependents? You're going to add that to the map.
Oh, that's a good thing. And there's like a set of places to go, right? Is it like a drop down, or do I just make someplace up?
You can just make someplace up.
Okay, so this is where I go to look after my siblings.
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea that I have that bow or whatever. How about if what it is that we have a family membership to a sports facility where you can go and you have different kinds of lessons and stuff, and that's where she's learned how to do archery, and her siblings are doing whichever, depending on the days of the week, whatever activity it is that they want.
It's a chunk of money, but it's kind of a daycare facility sometimes for them. It occupies them. Okay. Mm-hmm. I like that. And then you are self-assured and resourceful. You're going to mark 1 tick in infamy and lack.
I've got a lot of stuff in infamy and lack. In infamy,
and then 2 ticks in all the others.
Wow. Okay. All right. Does it look like did it right?
It looks like you did that right.
Oof, I got a lot of boxes. Cool. Okay. Good on me.
And then we're going to pick a contact. So it says pick one from the next drop down below Crew Covenant and give them a name.
So this is a content. Wait, this is
So on
next
it's a
drop down.
be row 106.
Row 106. I'm sorry. This
That's
is like
okay.
a little bit like there's just instructions. Oh, I did put the thing here. So I chose a tower person.
Okay.
And essentially, so I'm just defining them, right?
Yeah. What's their name?
I think his name is Terrence.
Okay.
And he's a guy who used to live in the same apartment building as we now live in. Like, that's where I met him. We were freshman class. We knew each other. And he is going to another school now because they've moved. They're sort of across the city. But I still go to like hang out with him when I get the chance. It's another one of my things. He pays me to tutor him in like writing and things like that because he feels like he's really inarticulate. And so I do that. It's like I tutor him. He has a hard time communicating. Sometimes I suspect it's just with me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
But
so older or about your age?
I'd say exactly my age.
Okay. That works. And then so that does that. You'll when that put that name there next to tower. And that gives us that covenant, and we've got them on the map now. And we'll come back to you to talk about the other contacts and things here in a bit. Let's come over to Pam. Pam, let's go up to the aftermath segment. What did you choose for your signature weapon?
Cat claws.
Oh, nice.
So piercing and close.
Okay. And what is your gear?
The notebook.
Okay. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so for you as the watcher, what did you choose for your role?
Because PI was one of the suggested ones for trader.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that role.
Okay. And so you've got the fealty black mark there.
Yes.
And we've got the other marks you've put in for the gauges at infamy and lack. And tell us about your contact.
All right. So Amir is a mutual aid activist and is someone who I think I had. We were romantically involved at some point in the past, but now we're just friends. We hang out occasionally, and I try to solve some problems for them, and they occasionally try to make sure that I take some decent care of myself.
Nice. And we've got Justice there for that. And and what did you choose for your place?
Yes. So I chose a South Riverland library, which used to be a public library, but the public library system in the city basically wanted to shut it down. And some local volunteers basically are running it with like remaindered books and other donations, and so, asking for donations for rent periodically. But yeah, it's essentially an independent public library.
Independent rogue library. I like it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So I think that gives us the materials we need to choose for you. So we're going to complicate this a little bit more. And we're going to go around, and each of you is going to draw a connection between yourself and an existing, draw a link from any existing contact or location to a new contact. Then each player draws a link from any contact back to them as a major covenant. Give that relationship an arcanum. We may do. I wonder if Patrick, you've looked at the system maybe a little bit closer. Do you think we should hold off on it until we have David, or should we go ahead and do that today? What do you think?
It might be better to hold off. I was thinking about that because we could just, a couple of us could commit to here is a link that will go to whatever fills in this space later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's sort of random. It'll mean we have one less move this session, but it'll also mean we have one less move this session.
That makes sense to me. So let's do that. Let's hold off on that until we have David, and we'll kind of fill in from there at that point. So let's talk about the ideas of our next target. This is our next investigation, where we're going to answer some questions about growing shadows. Now, one of the things that's not clear is to kind of does a GM present you with an idea, and then you connect that to your players, or what? So to make things easier, I'd like to describe a vassal in the most general terms, and we can figure out then how we want to play up from that. Basically, the next vassal, the next person who is causing problems, is a figure who is involved in online communities, especially ones within City of Ocean, and takes particular delight in doxing people, revealing personal information, revealing, digging up old things about them, exposing anonymous handles, anything like that. In particular, has a real thing about exposing people who complain about their working conditions or their jobs or things like that, and getting them in trouble and possibly fired by their employers. That kind of thing. Takes a perverse delight in that. We'll figure out the exact details of that, but that is what I am thinking of. Does that sound like an okay starting point? Sherry, do you want to add to that?
Wow, that's really awful. Yeah, I would say they're kind of the scourge of the sort of downtown restaurants, like the service workers there.
Okay.
And there's a lot of theories about who it is, because there's of course, the usual batch of ongoing problematic customers and things like that people are aware of, that they groan when they come in, but management is always, you have to be nice to them and all that stuff. So
yeah, and they seem to have an ability to dig out people's identities and expose those things. So here is the question that I have. Given that, who of our contacts that we have on the board might this person have already hurt?
A mirror could work, because I'm sure that their current work, their passion is not something that pays the bills, shall we say. So it would make sense that they would have a part-time job, and a restaurant job is probably quite reasonable.
And what do you think happened? Was it was Amira just kind of generally complaining about things, or do you think it was that they were like
Oh,
doing their social justice work or something?
yeah, I think that I actually think that I think that Amira is working at um, whatever kind of whatever Starbucks variant exists in this universe,
Okay.
and was not actually complaining. Like, this is the quirky thing, was complaining about things in other restaurants nearby based on people they've talked to. But Amira still got docked and actually had to lost their job, and is now kind of hunting around for one, but appears to have been somewhat blacklisted.
Yeah. I like that a lot. Patrick, what is the name of our in-universe Starbucks analog?
I don't know why this, but this Bright Eyes.
Bright Eyes. I like the idea that there's a picture of a black cat with a mug of coffee and just their eyes just bright golden wide, like they've had too much caffeine. Yeah, so our Bright Eyes is our chain. So I think this is a vassal that is a punisher, that punishes people. That is their reason to art. So it seems to me, since it's your contact, Pam, you're probably the first person to have maybe looked into this.
Yeah, it's probably I have a side project to try to dox the doxer, in a sense, like try to track down who this person must be.
And do you think that you
In the,
have, do you have particular computer skills, or do you think you have people that you go to that can do this?
so one of the things that I don't anticipate having a substantial amount of computer skills.
Okay.
Probably enough to get by, but not necessarily. Yeah, I'm not seeing Pam as being the hacker type, more the beat the street kind of
Okay.
investigator.
So you probably
certainly
had...
not above using technological tricks, but would rather get passwords by calling people up and convincing them to give them over the phone than try to use a bunch of script kiddie tools.
So let me ask you this then. You have somebody who probably has helped you kind of start to look into this. What do you think showed you that this was not a normal kind of thing, that there was something unusual or supernatural going on?
I think that part of it is that it's not that Amira posted anything using an account of hers. It was a sort of it was anonymous comments on anonymous comments on articles in the online newspaper and that kind of thing, like stuff that it seemed like this, it wasn't like, oh, just compromise this account kind of thing.
Yeah. So and like somehow afterwards that anonymity was stripped away online,
right?
And appeared, and it shouldn't have done that. There's no way that should have happened.
Literally it replaced anonymous comments that looked like all the other anonymous comments with like a picture of them in their name, which just, that's not how that works,
right?
And on more than one site. So
So
Mhm.
you've become certainly convinced of the strangeness of this.
Right.
Sherry, we establish a place that our vassal is working out of. So do you imagine that it is like an internet cafe or a FedEx Kinko's or something else that is the location that this doxer operates from?
I think that the city, part of the transit thing is that all of the train stations have like excellent Wi-Fi and communications and stuff for like people who are waiting and ticket, so that all of the machines and stuff work and messaging is correct. And I think that it's pretty clear that that is usually where they do their work because it's particularly what do you say? It's public, but it's also super like anonymized, so you can't see other people's stuff and things like that. So he's using all of the things that the city has put in place to keep people from using their Wi-Fi to steal other people's information to keep himself safe, even
Okay.
though he's stealing information from them, but apparently elsewhere. Or
So
maybe
we'll
he's
put
using the system somehow.
so we'll say the central station Wi-Fi site.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to kind of link our thing to. So we've got kind of a sense of what is going on, and so what we do is this is kind of the start of an investigation. There is a roll that we're going to make here, and we're going to check that, and that'll tell us like maybe about where each of you are at in your personal lives, the kind of troubles and things that are imminent here. So now this time we're doing checks against gauges. This is different than the 2d6 roll. So Sherry, what is your worst gauge?
Oh my gosh. I have like they're all at 3.
Okay.
So except for lack, I guess I got plenty of lunch, so that's not my
Yeah.
problem.
So
But anything else?
which one do you want to roll against?
Ah, well, I better get used to rolling against infamy, huh?
Okay.
So what does
So
this mean when I go to do this roll?
right now, how many boxes do you have ticked on infamy?
3 total.
Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll 2 dice. And what we're going to do is we're going to check each of those dice against 3.
Okay, so I assume I'm rolling 3d6?
You're going to roll 2d6.
6, that's what sure. Okay, yes.
Uh,
Okay, so 2d6 and
Yep.
hoping I beat 3 on one of them or something. I rolled a 4 and a 5.
You beat 3 on both of them. So that is a strong hit there. So there is a crisis tied to infamy for you, but right now it's quelled, which means that it is kind of softly in the background. And infamy refers to criminal allegations, malicious rumors, you can't meet clothing standards, your past shame is coming to light, something like that. So what is the trouble that it's not immediate, but it's kind of hanging out there in regards to infamy that is hanging over for you?
Well, I guess her job is as one of the weekend, essentially transport advocates, like the people that are there at the station to help tourists and people in the city to get to the places where they need to go. And I don't know, I could see there being a thing of like in her checker or something, it's showing up that like she wasn't there on time. for like a couple of times, except that she's like, I did check in time, is her thing. And so there's that sort of thing of, they said there's some like time card irregularities. And so they're looking into, I like that maybe someone's accused of having a friend check her in if she wasn't there. Which is patently false, but
right. So that's perfect. That gives us the state that you're in. You're in as good a place as you can be for starting an investigation here, with that sort of light trouble hanging in the background. We'll talk about how you can manage that in a second. We come over to Pam. Pam, what is your worst gauge?
My worst gauge is definitely fealty.
Okay.
It's at it's a 4.
Okay. So fealty means you lashed out and need to make it right. You can't enjoy the cherished activity. You're alienated from society. You're having to pass something you're not.
Right.
So let's have you roll the grind.
All right. I got a 4 and a 5. I don't remember whether I have to beat or just reach the number.
Okay. Let me check because it has been a bit. So dice mechanics. If both dice are higher, it's a strong hit. If only one die.
I rolled 2 4s, so it really matters.
Okay. So neither dice are higher. So that is a miss.
Yep. Best possible miss.
Yes. So what is going on? Like, what is the big trouble hitting you right now?
Yeah. I'm thinking that I have okay. I'm thinking it's a matter of not being able to get a new place to live. It's not so much that I don't have the ability to rent a place. I just cannot seem to get the any landlord to actually let me rent.
Yeah, I think one of the things you are discovering here, I mean, you've always kind of been downtown, is that there's a new sort of system going in, both governmental administration and local stuff, for more significant background checks,
right,
and reliabilities. And so you've literally, been couch surfing, or effectively homeless for the last week or so. Is that something you think that Pam had to deal with before, or is this a new thing?
I think I've had to deal with it before, but I think it feels like the automated system is being nastier now. It's something has changed, but I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah. You're finding that you can't get to talk to somebody face to face. You keep being sent around to fill out this form, go to this, do this online thing, and it keeps getting eaten up, and that's the state you're in. That feels reasonable for that. That crisis is dire for you right now.
Right.
If it is imminent at the end of the investigation, you're going to get a black mark in your fealty gauge.
Yes.
So you want to keep that in mind.
Right. And the black marks are the permanent check boxes.
Yes. Right now, I haven't doled out any ticks. We'll get to the ticks.
Yep. Oh, I know.
Sasha.
Oh.
What is your worst gauge?
It's definitely lack.
Is it now?
It's not even a question. It's just way up there at the top.
What is your lack?
It's a 4.
It's a 4. So then why don't you roll me 2 dice and hope that you get a 5 or a 6 on one of them?
I got a 6 on one of them.
Okay. So that is a weak hit. Your trouble starts imminent. So what is the trouble you think from lack? They have eviction threats, healthcare costs, malnutrition, cars busted, student loans are coming due. What is it?
So I do think it has to do with the shop.
Okay.
And it's nothing so prosaic as a rent hike. They've done that for the last couple months in a row. No, this one is I got a letter informing me that the whole block has been designated as a historical district. And as the property manager for a historical site, I now have a whole list of repairs, upgrades, and restorations that I'm responsible for, or else they will find a better capable property manager.
Yeah, a certain amount of having to do abatements and forms that you have to sign off on that are sitting there for you, and like this has come fast, and it's a situation that needs to get dealt with soon. So that gives us the setup for our investigation. So right now, our vassal is passive. They have not become aware of your actions. They have a clock of 6 segments that I will add to our chart here in a little bit. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take our first break here. When we come back, I'm going to talk about daily actions and about the ways that you clear conditions and things. So we will get those set. So let's take 10 and then we'll come back.
Sounds good.
What we're going to do now is we're going to kind of move into the investigation phase. We're going to take it to kind of get used to the steps of this process, kind of go around getting a sense of what that is. There is a clock, and at the start of each day of this 6-segment clock, I will tick a box. During this day, it's abstractly represented, but day, you can do 2 actions. You can do 2 everyday actions, or you can do an everyday and a rebel action. Everyday actions include things like wolf at the door. And if we look here at the sort of the city moves, that is the way that we kind of forestall a crisis. Checking in with minor covenants, letting your hair down, letting go, reading the wind. There are a number of those things. Rebel moves are when you're focusing on investigating the vassal, on just doing that, like, or you dive into the darkness to raid that castle. And one person can do that, or multiple people can do that if you decide you want to raid that. But right now we're kind of figuring out like what you need to be doing here.
So
yes.
It's funny, it refers to everyday moves and rebel moves, and then has a list of everyday actions, and then has a list of city moves. Are those rebel moves?
So the city moves are how do I put this? Are like when we actually get into a scene and something happens. Those are the city moves. Like make a stand is when you make a stand to force someone to pay attention to you. That suggests we've already kind of gone into a scene and you're trying to get something to happen, or pass beneath notice, or connect. These are, depending on what they do, like Rebel Eyes is clearly a move to investigate. So that's clearly a rebel move. It it kind of varies situationally. They've got multiple categories of things.
I'm really concerned by the so-called rebel moves. I would think they were the things that were under your crew covenant, maybe. I don't know.
No, they just the
So
two things that
weird.
they mention are investigating a vassal, meeting a covenant's need, hunting down an escaped castle entity, follow the fiction and trigger city moves as required, or the other thing that definitely counts as a rebel action is diving into the darkness to raid the castle.
Okay.
So, Patrick, I'm going to start with you here.
All right.
Because right now we know that you have an imminent crisis, something that needs to kind of be dealt with.
That is true.
So what do you want to do? Like where do we see you when we come in here?
Let's see. So I'm just looking through the everyday actions here. Condition. I do think I have a condition, so I have that to consider as well.
Yeah.
Let your hair down. Steam. Mark World. That's another way to heal a condition. Lots of ways to heal a condition.
Which is good.
Check in to charge up a covenant.
So minor covenant
or I could check
is
in with another rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah, minor covenant would just be like we're finding new NPCs to be friends with.
Yeah. Building them up so that I mean, and we can, that's something you can establish in the fiction.
And then Midwind. Waited. Okay, here, this is perfect.
Okay.
So I have my crisis on my mind of the I don't have the funds to do check all of the nonsense boxes for this historical district
Right.
crap. And Charlotte's hangout move is when you hang out with the Wheel of Fortune, flip a coin. On a heads, they show you an opportunity you hadn't considered. On tails, show you how the course you're on might lead to disaster. I want to go.
Hang out with Charlotte?
Hang out with Charlotte and see what she thinks of my plans and come up with what my plans are too.
Like when you want to go and hang out with Charlotte, I mean, do you meet up at the aquarium? Do you call them up? Like how does that work, Sasha? Because you're a little bit older than Charlotte is.
Yeah, it's probably still going to be a thing, but Charlotte, is she into what sort of art would she be into? Like music or visual arts or performance or what sort of thing?
Well, that's a good question. Let's see here. I think she's very into the natural world and God, she's a high school student. She loves a lot of things, and she's but I would say that if you were going to drag her to a museum or try to meet her there.
I mean, this is anything from a band performing in a club all the way up to art galleries, or just what sort of art of any variety is she drawn to?
I think she's probably going through a phase where she's really into sculpture right now. And that I would think there's probably a gallery right now that has a set of sculpture that's sort of I know. There's these ocean sculptures that have been made from plastic that's been taken out of the water and everything. And there's these huge sort of fill the whole room of these big civic like lobbies and stuff like this with like these great big dinosaurs and sea creatures and stuff like that built out of the plastic that's been like trawled out of the ocean in around the ocean city thing. So it's all about like it's what do you say? It's about pollution, but it's also about like turning it into this kind of crazy found sculpture. So something like that.
Yeah, and I think Sasha is like, you know, I know a guy. There's this actually like this preview night for investors in a certain category, like you see there before it opens to the whole public, and there's this whole like food and wine thing, and the wine at these things is always really good.
And she sort of goes, okay.
So when you
So we're gonna
show
go
up
have
there,
wine.
well, it's you get to like get up there up close to it, the pieces before anybody else gets to see it. I mean, except for the other idiots that are there, but most of them are drunk or, you know, networking.
So how should I dress? Like
Oh,
fancy?
well, not like fancy, but like rich, and like you're too good for this sort of place, and like you're looking down on everything, but you want to make sure people see you when you're looking down on things. So you have to be in the like right sort of thing, but not an over sort of thing, sort of an under sort of thing. Lots of reflective metallics though.
All right, I think I have something.
So
yeah, and yeah.
go on. So I think we cut to the museum to kind of checking it out. What do you think is sort of the moment that it really feels like there is the hanging out, the connection between the two of you, Sasha?
I mean, this is rebels and otherworld badasses aside, this is like a high schooler excited about a new artist that they found. So I imagine there is like one or two pieces where Charlotte gives this like gushing, rambling sort of explanation of the process behind and her thoughts and what she feels and what it means and all this. And Sasha is like genuinely engaging in that conversation and bright and a little bit tipsy about it. Like there's a lot of wine going by, but he's not like rude or slurring. He's holding on to himself and he's asking interesting questions about stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and I think one of the things that she is just as delighted in, how do you say, identifying the pieces of the plastic stuff that's in there as she is with the artworks themselves, which are, you know, quite clever. And she is younger, and like she's very much younger. She looks like probably to outside observers, she probably looks like your niece or something like that, right?
Wow. Okay.
Or much younger cousin. So a younger cousin. I mean, to her, you're like way old.
Do you have to keep saying like much younger? That's the
ancient.
You're ancient.
I think whenever it veers that way, he'll distract you with like what he thinks that next piece of plastic trash in there came from.
Exactly, which she finds delightful. And yeah, and I think she'll go, you know what I really like about this is it reminds me of like, she kind of goes, there's a store downtown. It's sort of in the back of a warehouse. And what it is like whenever they take down a building or a house or anything, they take out all the good parts that like they can't make anymore. And they keep all of that stuff back there. But it's really cool because like the guy who works there, he rearranges them into like an all new facsimile of a thing. Like he puts together like a sitting room, but out of stuff from all kinds of different houses and stuff like this. It's really cool. I mean, this is, you know, a dinosaur, not a sitting room, but it's, you know, just bringing all these weird pieces together.
Patrick, would you roll me a d6?
A 1d6?
A 1d6, because we don't have a coin to flip.
Oh, gotcha. And I think the plan he sort of presents to you that we're flipping on how do we think this goes is that he knows a guy who knows a guy who has some friends that also do some construction stuff. And like, I think I can get away with like $150 and a couple bottles of some good stuff, and they can do just enough of a veneer of repairs and stuff that I'm pretty sure it'll get by the inspection, and then I won't have to worry about it till another year or 5 years or however long this happens.
Let's
So
have you roll that die.
all right, so that's a 4, and
That's a
what
4.
did we say?
So that's even. So
Okay.
heads. So Charlotte, what's an opportunity that Sasha hasn't considered that you can suggest to them?
Well, my father is a lawyer, right? It just sort of says, well, these buildings are older, aren't they?
I mean, it was old when my grandparents took over the shop.
Well, she goes, you've got a whole set of, how do you say? There are a whole set of things that could be marked as grandfathered that, like, so long as they're working and they are still encased in their original casings, you don't have to bring them up to code per se.
Because not the whole building, but even the small parts of it are historical.
Exactly. She goes,
Oh,
the thing is it has to be the original casings, because essentially when the people moved in, that was that was what they accepted, the terms that they accepted. So, no.
There's some pictures up in the shop of when they opened it up. They had a big grand opening celebration. I bet I could find some stuff to match it. Yeah. Maybe check through some boxes. I wouldn't even have to hire anybody. That's good. You're good. You're really good at this.
She sort of stops and she goes, I know, wait. And she sort of writes down like the office that you go to for like filing those things. She goes, I'll give you the forms. You'll have to take pictures. You'll probably want to have to take scans of the pictures that you have. Then they'll send someone out to make sure that the casings aren't broken anywhere.
So mechanically for you, Sasha, this means that on +1 forward, fleeting advantage on dealing with the situation that you're facing right now. So we'll come back to you. Let's come up to Pam.
Oh, hold on, because there's the rest of the actual check-in move, along with her hangout move.
Okay.
When you meet with a major covenant, trigger their hangout move. If the covenant was fated, mark world and intensify it.
Okay.
Or no, when you meet with a rebel, you trigger their hangout move and they trigger yours. Oh. Then you check against fealty on a hit, pick one. On a strong hit, pick both.
Okay, so let's then.
God, wow.
So let's go.
Okay.
Let's
Phew,
roll back.
This is complicated.
Let's roll back.
Okay.
So we've triggered the world, the Wheel of Fortune hangout move has triggered from Charlotte's side. And so now what is the Crew Covenant hangout move for the heretic?
It is, or for the magician here is when you help the magician with a project of theirs, they teach you a mundane skill you didn't know before. Lock picking, painting, mixing music. The next time you use it, roll with advantage. If you agree to like come help me the next afternoon, I don't know, it could be carpentry, it could be like wiring or electrical stuff, or
Ooh, electrical would be super fun.
you want to go with that?
Yep.
Okay, so next time you use an electrical or wiring skill, you roll with advantage.
Okay.
Okay.
I will make a note of that.
As we have to like install old fuses in place of circuit breakers and go fix some frayed old wiring.
I like it. It's probably not knob and tube, but it's probably old copper wire and different
Then
codes.
you check against fealty. Somewhere on here, I have a fealty of 2.
So now this is what that's getting happening here.
This is check against fealty on a hit. Pick one. So it's see if we intensify crew covenants or heal conditions here,
Okay.
or if things go badly instead.
So
This
what
is
is the, so we've done the crew covenant. What is the other part that we're resolving here?
The rest of the check-in move itself.
Okay, let me take a look at that here.
Oh geez.
Okay.
So
when you
I
meet with the
gotta-
rebel, trigger hangout move, trigger yours, then you check a fealty. Okay. So the person who was doing this that needs to check against fealty is you, Patrick, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So go ahead and roll.
I got a 2 and a 1, so
You
I
got
got
a
miss.
2 and a 1. On a hit, you would be able to pick stuff. On a miss, so say what goes wrong and pick one. One of you fades your crew covenant, or one of you marks a condition.
I think it's brilliant and it was all going perfectly, but some of that old wiring, when they're actually coming through and doing the inspection and flipping all the switches just to be as annoying about it as possible, there was a minor electrical fire, like not more than a spark and just a small amount of smoke. And I'm gonna mark a condition. I'm gonna mark overwhelmed.
Okay, that seems fair. You still have advantage going forward for dealing with the wolf at the door. Let's do Pam, and then we'll come to Charlotte. Pam, for the first of the 2 moves that you want to do on this day, what would you like to do?
So I'm trying to decide whether I want to. I feel like I'm going to try to investigate before dealing with my problems. I have a ton of conditions, so this is going to be fun. Yeah. But
do you want to try and deal with one of your conditions first, and then do the investigate as a second action? It makes sense. You've just come out of a horrific kind of supernatural experience. It makes sense for you to try and decompress a little.
Yeah. The part of it is I'm not entirely. Yeah, I'm just not. I'm trying to think what let your hair down would actually be in this case. And I'm almost tempted to. To let go instead, which might be safer. I have a bad feeling about rolling these moves.
Sure.
So, and I have to double check. I don't remember whether or not I have disadvantage on let your hair down. Or is that one of the ones that you can have disadvantage on?
I think that.
No, it isn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, just 6. I have disadvantage on 6 moves. It's hard to
keep track. Yeah.
So, okay. So, yeah, I'll
and let your hair down. I mean that you can that can be broadly defined. Basically, it's that you are spending a little money, spending a little time to do that.
I'm probably actually going to sleep in.
Okay.
In the hideout, which is the current couch surf option. So, so waking up way after the sun does, and scrounging for some breakfast at 2 p.m.
Okay.
Hopefully enough time to get to the office or get to get to something useful before the end of the day. All right, so I roll on lack. See whether or not there's any breakfast to be had. And all right. That seems sorry. Oh, okay, that's 4 and 2. I was reading that wrong.
So you've got a hit, so you can mark world.
Okay.
And clear one of your conditions.
Will do.
So what does that look like? Is it, I mean, like, where do you find the breakfast that you have to scrounge up?
So I think I actually do go. I don't find anything in the hangout, so I wander out and find a street vendor, and I'm actually able to put together enough change to get something to get a burrito, as it were. A chorizo burrito, hopefully, as best you can do.
Get that little bit of spice in there, sit down.
Oh, yes.
And I think because you're so hungry, it is one of those days when this burrito tastes like it's the best burrito in the world. You don't even care that you've got the red oil comes of your hands. It's just, for a moment, everything is right.
Food stains on your clothes is kind of, expected when you are an investigator. So, the people, if you look too pristine, people are suspicious. And
so, while you're still a little freaked out, you certainly feel a little more centered.
Yeah, I think I can start to prioritize my tasks for the rest of what little day there is left.
Charlotte, let's come to you. What would you like to do for a move?
I kind of like the idea of read the wind. In that sense of, I think I kind of see this as being the weekend. So she's got her, so she's there at the transit. She's got her, white jacket and the gloves and everything that mark her as a ambassador. And of course, on their sleeves, they always have the band that has whatever the current thing that's going on in the city. Sort of promote that. And it's also to make sure that the people who are wearing the jackets are actually from the city, because they always every week they give a different one. So if you see someone wearing one of the ambassador jackets and they don't have the correct band, that they are faking it, because that's a way to scam people, particularly tourists. So, and I like the idea that she's standing there and she's helping someone and she sees someone wearing the ambassador jacket and they don't have the right band. And she kind of hesitates, but there's another ambassador back there to kind of pick up any slack, and she sort of gestures and goes to follow them to see if she can essentially get them to leave the station. Essentially, it's not like she wants to call the police or anything on them, but she wants them to go. And so you kind of see her tracking and following this person. And I think it's like it says, pick detail for the architect to introduce. And I think that I want to ask you for an unexpected meeting with an NPC.
So I think you see this person who is clearly wearing this fake ambassador jacket. You see them stop and chat to a couple people, and you watch closely and you think, oh, they might be pickpockets. And I think that you see that person, they imagine we get this montage of you moving through the station, getting closer to this person, kind of moving up on this person. And you're maybe 10, 15 feet away from them when you hear, "Blow!" And you see this person come out of just left field and tackles that fake ambassador and absolutely drops them to the floor of the station, and everybody starts shouting. And this person has like grabbed the ambassador. What do you do?
I think that because you can already see that the people that were kind of right there by the fake ambassador are like trying to go to help them, and she'll sort of stop and step in. She goes, "Could you please check your belongings?"
And you see this girl, she's in a tracksuit, like a high school tracksuit. She's got this big long ponytail that goes down actually the middle of her back, and she's wrestling, and she's got this guy, and he like pulls out like a cell phone, and she's like, "This girl gets it," points at you, and thief. Look, whose phone is this? And somebody goes, "Oh, that's my phone."
And she goes, "Could you please dial, 465? It's like a 3-digit thing for security at the transit at this thing." And she goes, "Just take a picture."
So you kind of try to keep things in line here.
Calm. Like
Okay.
we have a system for handling this, and we'll probably empty the guy's pockets.
Absolutely. So I do think that you are kind of making a stand.
Yes.
To kind of take charge of the situation here. You get to roll this with advantage.
Okay.
But you're going to check against blood.
Ooh, blood. So I think that's just 3. Everything's like 3 except for one thing.
That's a smart way to do it.
Black. Okay, so I'm going to roll 3d6 and take the 2 highest, is what I understand.
Yes.
For advantage. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm trying to beat 3. So I get 1 success.
Okay.
But it's a 6. I don't know if that's a better success or not.
So here's what it is. On a hit, you get to choose 2 from Make a Stand. They don't cause you immediate problems. Your words shake them. They spend time focused only on you. Because it's a weak hit, you're going to have to mark a condition.
Okay. So I think what I will do is, so this is Make a Stand, which is on which one? The castle? Is it on everyday moves?
So this is on the Universal City moves. It's E1 or E2.
Sorry, I didn't see it in the right column. So there, it's at the very top. It's hiding right there at the top.
Yep.
Okay, sure. So I think their words shake them.
Okay.
And I'm talking about the thief, not the NPC.
Right.
And they won't cause me immediate problems. Mostly I'm just making sure that like nothing bad happens to any, like the person who tackled them, if that makes any sense.
What condition do you want to mark?
Ooh, that's a good one. I got to get more used to these conditions. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and if you mouse over on them, they'll tell you what they give you disadvantage on.
Probably a little bit angry. Just that they actually were, it was a crime or whatever. She didn't want to assume that was what it was. Sometimes people do it to like get free rides and stuff. And so she's kind of angry. Is that okay?
Absolutely. And within a few moments, because you're one of these ambassadors, the transit cops will come over. They will lay hands. They'll take him to the little police security station they have here, so they can review the footage. And this young woman will hand back the phone and a wallet to a person there, and then turns to you and kind of does this like, yes.
She goes, "That was terrifically dangerous." And then she'll lean in, "But I did appreciate it."
Oh, you think it was dangerous?
I do. You hit him square on, so it worked out great. But if it had been a glancing blow, he might have got some good, I don't know, might have turned into a brawl.
I like I had my phone stolen once.
And she goes, it takes forever to get it all put back together, even when you get a
Exactly.
new one. She goes, oh, come back to my station. We can talk.
And she'll hold out her hand and she'll say, my name is Victoria.
I'm Charlotte. It's nice to meet you. And she'll say what her high school name is.
And
Goes,
she's from a different school. She's
She
a
goes,
couple stations over. You can tell, she's clearly, was just coming from a track practice. I've put a picture of her in the NPC tab for you there.
thank you.
Excellent. So we have a minor covenant established there for you.
Thank you.
Let's come back to you, Sasha.
I don't know. I'm scared now. The last time I triggered a move, it was like 8 moves.
It was terrifying to me. It was no impulse drive, but it was still.
No, it wasn't quite.
Still a series.
I have faith in the system. We can still get there.
Do you want to try and deal with the wolf at the door?
Yes, because I have my magician move that can stack on top of that. When you quell a crisis, you can mark a condition to pick one. It's enduring, there's momentum, or it's enticing. So how do I quell a crisis?
So quelling a crisis is in fact the wolf at the door.
Okay.
So when you do what it takes to keep the wheels turning, quell a crisis, yours or someone else's, pick how you do it, and then you're going to choose one of those things to say, like, what it costs you to take care of that crisis.
I think there's not much getting around it at this point. Like, I've got some things that I managed to get fixed with those like old fixtures and using the historical label on every little screw and thing I could find. But now that they've been in here and we had the disaster, like I actually need to fix some of these things.
Okay.
So I need people. I need experts in this sort of like fixing old things and how they used to be run, sort of thing.
So do you think you're going to talk to your rebels, or are you going to your NPC friend?
I think I'm gonna go see Sugarhawk.
Okay.
Because I think he knows some people that have gotten into some black market stuff because they got their jobs became obsolete. They got pushed out of being able to make a living because they couldn't work with the computers or the new compliance codes or whatever, and so they might have some of those skills I need.
And where do you find him?
Trying to avoid notice, standing on a street corner and very obviously looking up and down 2 different streets and sort of jittery, shaking his leg, and he keeps looking over his shoulder at the door behind him. He's there being a lookout, and he's not very good at hiding it.
He seems relieved when you show up, Sasha, just because it gives him a little bit of cover. He's like, hey, what is up, Sasha?
Hey, Sugar, you look like you could use some company.
Yeah. Come and stand here with me, man.
Yes, and I'll offer him a cigarette. You look like the weight of the world is hanging down on you, and you need to calm down a little bit.
I'm always no. I'm always unobtrusive. I look legit. 100%.
Yeah.
Innocent.
That's what they say.
It is. It is. So why are you out hanging around?
Look, man, I told you about this whole historical district nonsense. It's just they're crawling all over my ass about it, and it's eating up every last cent I have. But
Oh, that's not cool, man.
apparently, 50-year-old fuses aren't up to code anymore, and sometimes explode violently on contact with live current. I just look, guys that know things and the dumb things, did things, but like legit things. I mean, I just need some people to work on the shop and fix a couple of loose ends.
Uh, uh, yeah, I could probably arrange that for you. It's just, I'm in the middle of some things. Do you need it now?
Well, I mean, no, just
So it could wait a week or two, right?
Oh, well then, yeah, I sort of need it nowish. I mean, not like this afternoon, but like the next inspections in 6 days.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, let me call a guy I know who uh does non-union electrical work.
Good, yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
You're not gonna get any certifications, right? You
Oh,
know what
I
I mean?
mean, I can work up a certification.
Yeah. Because like he's not in the union anymore. He was in the union, so he knows all the union stuff, but he's not in the union anymore.
It's perfect. That's perfect.
Exactly. I mean, there's no harm, no foul.
And he definitely wires stuff up so that it doesn't catch
Oh
on
yeah, he can
fire,
wire
right?
stuff up.
That it no fire, right? He doesn't.
He can wire
Just give me
stuff
his
up.
number.
Yeah.
I got
Okay.
he's free this weekend because
Well,
really,
let me
like I
cut.
said,
And I think part of what fades it is Sugarhawk then actually having to do something and having to call somebody and do some effort and like argue with the guy for a bit and then you owe me before he'll go, yeah, that guy will be over there tomorrow. Okay, make sure you got water and sandwiches and maybe some booze around for him at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, I can handle that.
Yeah, don't give him the booze at the start of the day.
Gotcha.
Okay.
It's timing. It's all about timing.
Yeah. So go ahead and fade your covenant with Sugarhawk.
Oh no, I just got that covenant.
I know, but you'll be able to work on reestablishing it here soon. Let's come back to Pam. Pam, breakfast burrito.
Yep.
Anything's a breakfast burrito if you just wish it hard enough. So
Well, this is a chorizo and bean breakfast burrito. Mm-hmm. The beautiful thing about chorizo is no one needs to know what kind of meat goes in it. It's fine.
It's delicious. A little bit of red wine vinegar. So what is it that you want to do now that we kind of hit the later part of the day?
So I'm gonna try to tug on what leads I have about the Doxer.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to use Rebel Eyes to find some clue to the identity, or at least some more specific details so I could stake out a spot to find out the identity.
So you want to either find his identity or find out like where he might be, right?
I think in context on that move, I feel like I should be able to just go, I want to know who this person is.
Okay.
And you'll tell me what I have to do to get there.
Sure.
Basically. So yeah, I'm going to go for the identity.
Let's have you check against heat.
All right. All right. My heat is a 3. So
Okay.
And that is a complete fail.
That is a complete
miss.
fail.
It's not clear.
Let's see.
I'm not sure what happens on a miss for this move. I guess it's up to
GM
you.
reacts is the
Okay.
standard one. Let's see. Because I always have to check this to see what the aid or assist
I
is.
could fade I believe I can fade my crew covenant. Because that's the only one I have that's intense. Because I think I can use where is that? Is that only? I don't know if that's castle only or not. I guess that might
Nope.
be.
It can be used anytime.
Okay.
And your crew covenant hadn't already been faded?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't end up fading it the last time. So
Do you want to do that?
Sure. Let me give a little more context to what I'm doing. So
Yeah, absolutely.
we have this Wi-Fi center. So I'm probably sort of asking around. What I'm probably going to have to do is ask one of the other members of the crew to sort of help because I'm asking too many questions, too many people. So so I'm probably going to need to get somebody else to nose in and sort of either distract somebody while I look at some paperwork or otherwise just give me an assist. So I'm figuring that Charlotte might be the person to ask, but I'm not sure that it matters as far as the move is concerned, but I think that Charlotte would probably be more innocuous. So.
Especially on this weekend when she's there anyway.
Oh, well, fair enough.
So re-roll one of your dice.
Okay. Oh, I did that. Oh, I see. That's good. Yep, no dice. No luck.
So I think what we see is the two of you kind of moving around, checking things out, and Charlotte, you distract while Pam kind of goes in to maybe look at some logins and some sign-in things. But everything's so anonymously handled here and carefully managed that it doesn't give you a really good lead to follow up on. But I think you can confirm for yourself that, yeah, whatever's happening, this feels like the place. I think that much you can confirm. But I do think there is a moment when the camera pulls back from the two of you, kind of after this has not gone but you're across in this Wi-Fi area and stuff. I think we can see a person. Would you see the back of them? The hood is up. I think we see them kind of lift up a little and look across.
Okay, got it.
And they see you, and there's this moment where we see them maybe lift up their cell phone and take a picture of you two.
Okay.
Maybe they can tell that somebody was asking around.
Right.
And they've got your photos. And maybe they're going to follow up on that.
Oh, as a heads up,
yeah.
On the character keeper, If you click the black box instead of the gray box, it grays out the city and castle move, which is what I believe happens when it's not intense. I'm not sure why, but that's how that seems to work.
Patrick?
That was more fanciness that I found. I set that one up so that if you click the first one,
oh, I see.
That's it's no longer intense, but it's not faded yet. And then if you click the second one, then it's faded and you lose.
You can only hang out when it's faded.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Let's come back to Charlotte.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling about this, in the sense of, essentially it's been kind of one of those crazy days where there's been some bad actors here at the Transit, which is a place that I think of as being, mostly positive. I really like my job. I really like the people I work with. And it kills me when things make us look bad. I wonder if I need to use my rebel eyes and go take a look too, but I would use probably a different method of doing this.
Okay.
And I think, gosh, what would be, is it just that one move for that? Or can because I was thinking like what I might do was see if I could ask the cop if we could look at some of the CCTV stuff in that thing to see if that pickpocket was there, like real quick. But I want to see if there's essentially a person who's in that cafe, like a lot.
Okay.
The kind of thing that I'm going for. But just kind of like work on that whole thing with, the transit cop who helped us catch the pickpocket and go, it's just, go, I thought I saw them with someone else. And I just want to see if they're like a group of them hanging out, like there's a ring of them. She goes, I'm going to keep an eye out.
So I think we've got two ways you can handle this.
Okay.
We can do rebel eyes.
Okay.
Which allows you to get it's you're doing this as a information seeking thing. If we're leaning into it just being like you're trying to ask a cop to be able to get access to this thing, like narrowing it that way, might be connect.
Okay, I could try connect. Let's see here.
Take a look at that and see what you think. It may or may not be as good for you.
Let's see here. I don't know what putting up a false front would be, because that would be a check against lack. But convincing them that I'm worth their time and having check against infamy, which means it's my higher check, but I could try that, I suppose.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I guess that's what I will attempt.
Okay.
On a hit, they'll give you a chance to make your case. They'll answer some questions or do a minor favor. On a strong hit, they'll show more than they might. Okay, I guess that's what I'll try. Ooh, if I really hit it off. Minor covenant from a transit cop. Okay, that sounds exciting. Whenever I can get another NPC, that's the move I'm going to go for. So okay. I'm going to roll 2d6.
All right.
I'm hoping to beat 3s. I got a 5 and a 1, so I got a hit.
You got a weak hit. Like what's the basic question you want to get answered here?
I'm essentially, I just want to go establish like any people that you see that have been in here over the last 4 days consistently, essentially, okay. Or during the week consistent.
So how's this for like a fair information? Like you can get that down to a pool of maybe 3 people who okay. like are constantly using that Wi-Fi and mm-hmm. kind of in that range of age, 2 men and a woman, that you can kind of pick up on the camera that kind of narrows your pool down a little. Does that seem fair?
Sure, that does help.
Okay.
Okay. All right, then.
Let's take our second break for 5, and we'll come back and we'll do another day. We will tick another tick forward, and we'll see what we want to do. Sound good? Okay. So we left off with, was it Sasha that we left off with, or Charlotte?
I think I was the last one to
Okay.
go.
Yeah. So let's go. Let's go back to Sasha, Pam, and then back to Charlotte. Sasha, let's move forward a day. So we have 2 ticks in our 6-segment clock here at this
That's
point.
only a third of the way along.
That's all. Call me when you get to 4 or 5.
Yeah, so far in the future.
What does the clock actually mean?
So what happens is when we get to the sixth tick, is that actually pushes up the vassal's sort of awareness of you. So at the start, the vassal isn't aware of you. It doesn't know. That's the default starting point. But what'll eventually happening is it'll go to alert and then to hunting you.
Right. And I'm assuming that's more of the vassal with all the resources of the castle behind it.
Correct.
Right. Like you can meet the vassal way before that point.
Yeah. It's whether they are alerted and whether they're sort of supernaturally aware of things. So Sasha, where do you want to start? What do you want to do?
So first of all, I joked about fractal moves without actually finishing my fractal move, and I realized I left off a part of what I was doing.
What?
Which is, I said that I wanted to use my magician thing of when I quell a crisis. I want to mark a condition, so I mark angry, because this is all getting to be a lot. But I was wondering if I could, there's momentum. You can also quell another rebel's crisis. And Pam has a housing situation.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if, like, there's another tenant on, like, a higher floor, like the second or third floor, that just gave up after all of this historical district nonsense and is moving out. But, like, I can share with Pam if she's willing to do some work on the place herself. I can show her how to restore it to this historical stuff. I have all these tools now. Like, we could share in that, and I could get her a pretty cheap place to live, hopefully.
And this is coming off a particular move that you're using to?
Yes, my crew covenant is the magician, and the city move on it is when you quell a crisis, you can mark a condition to pick one. And I'm picking there's
Okay.
momentum. You can also quell another rebel's crisis.
Yeah. So like, how do you track down Pam? And Pam, what's your reaction when Sasha comes to you with this?
Oh, I'm thrilled. I am totally willing to get my hands dirty to try to fix up something if it means having a stable place to live for a little while. So
yeah, I think we haven't been to the library. So where would I find you in the library? What are you doing?
No,
there?
I'd be around the library or at the hangout, honestly, or the hideout. Because that's probably the only couch that I can surf at the moment. So
yeah, I'll I think, yeah, it's at the hideout. You're sleeping on a couch, trying not to go insane from all of the neon aquarium lights all the time.
Yeah.
And I'll come in and just toss a pair of like paint stained overalls to you and say, "Come on, get out of here. This place is none of us can relax here with you sleeping. And look, I've got a place. It's going to take a little work. Well, a medium amount, probably a lot of work. Actually, it's been a pain in the ass, but a cheap pain in the ass now that I've paid all the expensive parts for you."
All right, I'm game.
So let me ask you this, Pam. This place that you're given to crash,
Yes.
it is marginal. So
Yep.
what is the biggest drawback for you? The thing that you're like almost is maybe almost a deal breaker for you.
So I think it's that when the sun goes down, you can really feel with the sea wind, the draftiness, the fact that the windows are very, very poorly seated. And so it's almost like being on a balcony, but you know, that's what extra blankets are for.
Yeah, Sasha, for note, doesn't live in this building. He lives in a real apartment.
Right.
He just works here.
Yep. I mean, it's historical, which means they have to maintain the shoddy construction.
Yeah, and there's a sweet smell of electrical ozone in the place. And the guy who seems to be doing the fixing on the electrical seems a little shady.
Sure.
Like,
it's the sort of guy that you have to make it very clear that no, I want the house to not burn down.
Oh,
because
okay.
The alternative is also an option.
Yeah, you said that to me. Thank you for reminding me.
Right.
So now, Patrick, that was the fallout from your previous move, right?
And how does that work with because her crisis is dire and imminent? Does that go to
So
both
dire
of them or
is
one
a
of them?
qualifier, I think, on the crisis. It means that if it becomes imminent again, it will permanently mark something.
Yeah. So right now it's been moved from imminent to just kind of like her situation is still fragile.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna like have real long-term consequences. It's temporarily settled down. Does that seem?
It still counts as dire, just not imminent?
Yes. That's my read.
Gotcha.
Too. Yeah, that's from the time I'm seeing it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that dire is only ever referenced in that miss. Oh, actually, that's another question. That miss on the on that initial setup move, did that count as missing a city move?
For purposes of
marking void.
Yeah, I think actually that's that.
Okay, got it. I'll mark another void for that. So, because that was I wasn't sure, since that move isn't something I initiated.
Right. No, I think you're right. That does feel like that.
Okay.
And you missed the Rebel Eyes move.
I tracked that, yes, but I wasn't sure if that first move counted.
Right.
So
Sasha, this next day,
back to the present.
The guy, the electrician, shows up. He's a little sketchy. When he talks to you, just kind of okay, yeah. All of his sentences seem to end with yeah.
And it's there's a lot of like and so why did you choose that one? And so what's that color wire mean? And
that's red.
Yeah. So the red ones are
they're red.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want to do for your two moves today, or for your move today?
Yeah. They've gotten sort of deeper into the vassal stuff where I've been dealing with mundane fires. So I think maybe to get himself back into the loop, I want to try and read the wind.
All right. So set me a scene and then pick me a detail.
So I think it's this is a day of actually like working in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he obviously does things in the shop, but he goes out and like installs locks and security systems as well. So it's an in and out sort of job. Um, scene of your so I want to see a new way my target is hurting people. I think this is a day of being in the shop and like people coming in with either things to fix or wanting to like upgrade their locks or install a new security system, that sort of thing.
I think you get some people checking through, and you get a couple of owners who come in of shops that are around, and they're like, so I want a new security system to like monitor the employees break room and employee stuff.
Uh, yeah, we've had a lot of people upgrading their camera systems recently.
Yeah. I don't trust him. I need to keep an eye on him. You know how it is. So
Mhm.
yeah. Can't and this thing could like is there any way that is there anything you could do like I could like see if they're like typing stuff on their phone?
Well, that wouldn't fall under a camera systems, and we do have several packages for surveillance systems for your entire business.
Yeah, I'm just real like I'm worried about that, my employees. I think
Well,
there's
of
some
course,
troublemakers. I want to find them and get them. I want to clear house.
I there are several interesting new systems that you can run some search filters on.
Good, good. And I think this happens like 2 or 3 times during that day of these employers coming in of just the sense that the employees need to be watched, they need to be monitored, they need to be controlled, they need to be punished.
And Sasha, you know, he is desperate for the new accounts right now. And so biting his tongue through this, but like these are exactly the sort of people that go on his list of like, okay, well, if I know how the security on this business works, how profitable is it? How much trouble would it be to get in there one night, and how much could I get out of it? Like these are the people that are putting themselves at the top of his list.
Okay. And so you'll have fleeting advantage if you want to follow up on that, I think. So keep that in mind. Pam, it's windy, it's drafty, it smells of the ocean, but you do get a night's sleep in
Yep.
a room. What's your next day look like? What's your first action?
Okay. So so because I don't need to deal with going to whatever housing authority office I was planning to go to today, I'm going to start staking out the Wi-Fi site to try to figure out who this person is, who the vassal is.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to pass beneath notice here.
Okay.
I think that's at least a plausible strategy here. As in, you know, at this point, I have leads based on because of Charlotte, so I'm going to try to quietly watch the people on the list rather than trying to nudge information. So
All right. Let's have you check against infamy.
All right. Which I believe is no better or worse than the last one. So, oh no, infamy is actually 2. So that is better.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I got a weak success.
Okay. So you're gonna get what you want, but you're gonna have to pick 2.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to figure out which ones could reasonably apply. I think having to leave right now, I think at some point I get so I'm guessing that whatever transit police will notice me kind of staking it out after a while. And eventually they're going to come and probably send me packing, as it were, since I just seem to be loud, loitering, as it were.
And what's the other pick?
Oh, that's both someone notices you and I have to leave the situation right now. As in, they'll remember me. Right. So if I come back here again, I better have a really good. I'm going to get hassled pretty quick.
I think that there is a moment when you are looking around, when you make eye contact with this guy.
Okay.
And he's clearly staring at you like maybe he saw you here yesterday. Maybe he's the one who picked up on this. Like you get a glance at him, and you mark, okay, height, weight, what's it, a general, pale complexion, that kind of thing.
Right.
Looking at a school book bag, just a few of those kinds of things. And I think it's within maybe a minute of the two of you like seeing each other that the transit cops are there.
Okay.
Like somebody pinged them.
I see. Okay, got it.
And you have to scoot out.
Yep. Okay.
And I think when you kind of one of the problems is this is a place that is in a central area. So you're trying to watch, you don't see him dip out because you're trying to keep an eye, but you definitely saw him and you're like, okay, that guy,
right,
there's something going on there. Seem good?
Got it. So I can pass that description over to Sherry.
Absolutely.
Or over to Charlotte, and then maybe you can figure out where he's coming from, as it were.
Charlotte, let's come to you for your first action.
Okay, I think I'm going to try Rebel Eyes for realsies this time.
Okay.
And kind of have it down on this guy, on a guy. I'm going to, yes.
Yeah. What is your crew covenant, intense or bright?
It is got one check on it, but so I don't think it's either.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
Right.
Is that correct?
It's bright if
one
it has
check
one
bright.
check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's bright. So is that good?
Well, I'm thinking this is I think we've set this up that you and Pam are kind of working together here. So I think we can say that Pam's action that she just did could give you advantage on this roll.
Oh, if I did that. Okay.
You don't have to fade anything.
Okay.
If you work together, you give advantage as long as you have a crew covenant.
Awesome. All right. So I would be making a move, and that would be on the Rebel Eyes, and I would have advantage.
Rebel Eyes with advantage.
Okay. And it's going against which one does it go against?
Heat.
It just doesn't even make any sense, but that's okay. So I'm rolling 3d6, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I get 2 successes, a 5 and a 6.
5 and a 6.
Those are pretty strong successes.
I may give you one or two of these requirements. I think because you've got help there, I think we've already kind of
Mhm.
fulfilled one of those requirements.
All right.
And I think that you will like get somebody who like gives you a name,
Ooh. Okay.
and they'll say, yeah, that's Ross Kubiak.
Oh, I know the question. Yes. What high school does he go to?
He graduated
Oh,
last year, but he
he's
didn't end up
adult?
going to college, or at least he's not doing it. They might be doing stuff online.
Yeah. Lots of people do.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
that's why he's here all the time.
he's here all the time. And they'll say, it is weird, though. Uh, like sometimes he's here, and they kind of stop and they go, like he brings the vibe down.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Oh yeah, I know. I've seen that before.
But yeah, he's here. I mean, he can be here all the time. His parents have a lot of money.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is there that kind of like really frustrated, kind of angry thing going on?
Yeah. He doesn't much interact with people.
Okay. All right. I have a name, Lord. This means that we can start investigating with that name.
Yeah.
So that gives us a pretty big advantage. Yes.
Absolutely.
Find out who it is. All right.
And I think this is actually where we're going to stop today. We've got one more action left on the day, but I want to stop here so we can bring David in. Now we have a name on the table. We'll get 2 ticks on our clock, and we can see, like, now you know this space that there must be an entrance to the castle here somewhere. And now the question is, what that looks like, how you get to that, and what you find out about Ross Kubiak. Sound good?
Yeah. Oh, one
Yeah.
quick question.
Yeah.
Are we doing end of session wrap up move?
Let's look at the end of session wrap up move. It's a move. So let's check that out.
Because that seems to be part of the economy of the game.
Right.
And I just
take stock of what happened. Each rebel says what made the biggest impact on them. So let's start with you, Patrick. This is almost like a masks style question here. And it's on G61.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? And refreshing a gauge means removing a tick.
Gotcha. I think the thing that made the biggest impact on me, and it was just in the vein of pressing buttons and seeing what happens.
Uh-huh.
Being able to use my magician move to open up a space for Pam to live in and like fix her crisis while I was fixing mine, while she was out there like doing all this stuff about the vassal. That when I got to do that, that was really cool for me, and I liked seeing how all those sort of clicked together.
So you can mark world, and you can intensify your crew covenant.
Nice. And we've worked together loosely before. We've just sort of started our path on this fight together, but I don't know. I think Sasha feels closer to Pam, not just that she's upstairs, but like we're sort of tied together now. And now if I need some help fixing something in the shop that needs upkeep, Pam can help me out. And if she needs something, like I can go help her out. I think that's neat.
I like that. Pam, what about for you?
Yeah, for me, definitely Sasha coming out of the blue and helping her out was a huge, was a surprise, and yeah, it was great.
So then you can both heal a condition.
Okay.
And what about for you, Charlotte? You're muted.
It's weird because I helped both of them, but in some ways it felt very much like I was focused on my mundane world during all the time doing that. That was just me kind of like in my space in the city, and kind of oblivious to what their adult problems were in a lot of ways. So I think I might go with that one. I don't know what refreshing a gauge means though.
So
So
what that is you can pick one of those gauges that you have for the city, and I believe that you can remove a tick from it.
Okay. That sounds awesome. I will. Oh, seems like heat or fealty might be good. Let's see here. I got along with them, so I will take fealty down because I
Okay.
think we're getting along good as a crew, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. I would like to do a quick stars and wishes, just to kind of, especially wishes on like things you want to be looking for, lean into as we go through it. I appreciate everybody, by the way, going along as we kind of get the move and the economy and the rhythm of this game in place. And I think it is a game like a lot of these legacy inspired games that has a lot of parts, less so than some games, but a lot of things to keep track of. Patrick, can I start with you?
Sure. I mean, this session was 1000% all learning all the time, and I do love new game systems. I love trying all the shiny new stuff. So just being able to hit the buttons and having the sense that everyone else was having various difficulties with the scope, or knowing exactly what everything else did too. I felt camaraderie in feeling lost sometimes, and that was cool. As much as it sounds bad, like it
No,
was
no.
cool. I like how the things in this game work, and I'm starting to see some paths forward. Um, Specifically, I love the scene with Charlotte at the um, sculpture exhibition at the art show there. Um, uh, I love the visuals of this like layered plastic art, sort of trash and art together, and also liked the weird situation we were in. It was sort of an adult scene, but you were sort of a kid there, and you were sort of like super intellectually into the adult stuff, but you approached it in a youthful, energetic way, and I liked getting to hang out with you. And Mendel, we sort of talked about the sides of that thing, but I just being able to have a really solid foundational experience for like what our character's relationship is going to be, that idea of like having a friend living above the shop, that's sort of cool and gives this building and this like place where I work is breathing more and more life into it. I liked how that all worked out. Wishes, I want to go check in and hang out with Sugarhawk next time. I think Sasha feels a little bad that he sort of cornered him at his job, or when he couldn't run away. I want to go through that scene.
Mhm.
I want to get into the actual investigation into the vassal fully myself, um, and not specifically for next time, but I'm constantly keeping an eye out for opportunities to break in somewhere, run a job, get a score, that sort of thing. I'm a
I like
thief. I
that.
want to thieve.
Okay, that makes sense. Mendel?
So I really liked how we are working together as a team. And in terms of sort of Charlotte and Pam sort of trading off, and Sasha helping out Pam. And I do think that's I feel like that's implied by the structure of the game, and that and I'm glad we're kind of keying into that, even if it's not always clear how the mechanics make that work, as it were. But yeah, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with Sasha next session. That's kind of was my plan for my second move for the day. So that you can treat that as a wish. And general, like I do like how this is. I do like how the mundane side is shaping up right now, and I'm curious to see how it starts to feel more heightened as we get further into the investigation. Like I feel like that I feel like is the tone that's going to really drive the game, and I just want to see how that kind of comes out from the rules. So I'm looking forward to that.
And it makes sense, especially because you've got that dire nature of that kind of sitting there.
Yeah. That especially because that could loom again at any moment if it goes back to be imminent. So yeah.
Excellent. And Sherry?
I am so glad that none of you had studied this so intensely that you were just firing things off, because I literally spent the entire time scrolling while you guys were doing things to figure out where you were and what was happening. I kind of like what amorphous picture of the machine is that I'm seeing here. There's a lot of buttons. I know some of them make certain noises and light up a way when I do things. I'm not entirely sure what all of the fallout is for these things, but got a few of the surface pieces down. So eventually I look forward to actually figuring out how I can wrench out a particular outcome at some point. But at least there are moves that explicitly give you NPCs, and thumbs up on those.
Yeah. Any wishes?
More NPCs. I'm looking forward to Gabriel and David, his player, being back, because that changes the thing with a little bit more, what do you say? 2 and 2, kind of more natural pairings instead of, but then I also was super glad with the 3 because I got to be in a lot of scenes because of that. So I don't know. I love everything and I want to do it all, but and I look forward to playing with y'all again. So wishes, let's do this some more.
Awesome.
There you go.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording.